art of Feng Shui, that is just the case. But to find out how exactly it works, here's Suzanne Harper. Lovely to see you, Suzanne. Now, I've heard a fair bit about this, but in brief, how does it work? What exactly is Feng Shui?
Feng Shui is based on Oriental principles of balance and harmony. So the idea is that you have the qi, or the energy, flowing around your place evenly and smoothly, and that brings good fortune to your life with it. Normally, I find most people are interested in the areas in their home that are to do with money and to do with love. These tend to be the
because this is how you actually work it out, isn't it? If somebody was interested in finding out how it would affect their life and sort of, you know, maybe to have their furniture and their whole house built around this system, you draw up a grid, don't you, and you decide which part. So it's love, money, health and...
There are 9 different areas.
Much more than I thought.
There's love, money, health, knowledge, which is very important, career, fame, family, offspring.
And all these things can be affected depending on where you've got certain features like... In fact, tell us about the door sort of like system, where if you have a house where, and a lot of people do, you open the front door and then immediately there are doors right the way through to the back of the house. That can cause problems, can't it?
The idea is that the qi rushes through too quickly, and what you need to do is to slow it down as it goes through the rooms. So what you can do is either keep one of the doors closed, or you can hang a wind chime somewhere along the route of this passageway, again, to slow the movement of the energy down.
So why wouldn't you want to have a lot of energy whizzing through your house then at great speed?
You want it to stay and create good fortune for you.
I suppose, yes, it's going through one end and out the other, isn't it?
Exactly.
It's not hanging around at all.
You want it to stay and you want it to help you. So the idea is to have a room evenly balanced.
Now, this all sounds like a wonderful theory, but you've actually, I mean, you live your life by this principle. How's it changed your life?
Well, when I found out about this, I had just moved from a 3-bedroom house to a 2-bedroom flat, and I made the move very quickly because my buyers were in a hurry, and I was delighted to have them want to move. And I thought that it didn't matter where I moved. I had 2 weeks to find somewhere, and I took a rented flat and just put my furniture in. And in common with a lot of people, I picked an old Victorian flat. It was very interesting, but it was very long and narrow. And there were several things that were problems there, I later found out. About a month after moving in, my life started generally going down the pan.
Oh, Lord, so you've got to quickly sit down and decide what's going on.
Yes, I actually connected the 2 things up, and I thought, well, since I've moved here, things have not been going well at all. I did several things that were fairly disastrous. I put my teenage son in the power spot. That was about the worst thing I could have done.
When they're not, I was going to say, they've got probably as much energy as anybody would have, a teenager.
Oh, yes. And of course, he tried to take the place over. The other thing was this space had, unfortunately, no relationship area. So my relationships were going down the pan.
I mean, it was lucky, really, from your point of view, that you knew all those things, that you were able to actually put this into effect. Because what I was hoping you might be able to do for us today is we've set some things out, and we've got little sort of areas here. Now, if this were in, say, my house, how would you alter any of it, or have we set it out quite well? I mean, what about bookcases and things? That one isn't particularly full of books, but we have other things on there.
Well, it's very nice. First of all, it's very nice that the lights have now gone on, because this would be the wealth area in your living room.
Right.
It's the top left-hand corner. And nearly always, it's very important to light it. So the lights on are good. When you have a bookcase in an area, it's nice not to have it too crammed full of books and cluttered. It's nice to leave spaces there, which is what is the case there. So you can display photographs as well as books if you want any plants on it. That's all lovely. But certainly that's an area you would definitely want lit. As you're in the public eye, this is an area that's also important for you. And I see that on this set, this is painted a lovely shade of rose, which is the fire colour, the colour for fame.
Yeah.
That's very good too. That's an area that you would want emphasised. And over here we've got yellow flowers in the relationship area.
Right, and is that a good thing?
It's very good. You do want yellow in the relationship area. Yellow's the colour of earth colour, relationship colour.
So somebody somewhere's got their hat on straight, I think, when it comes to designing this set. But when you've got things, they're all things you can move around, you can actually alter.
Yes.
If, for example, you live in a house, which is, let's say, an old house, and you've got a lot of beams and things, I remember reading that actually a beam, for example, there was a couple I know that had a beam that came more or less straight down the centre, or above the centre of their bed, and they had great problems. Once they actually shifted their furniture around and that beam was no longer there, their problems were solved. What would you do if you couldn't move the bed around, the beam was still there? Is there any way of actually
There are
masking it maybe?
There are several ways of doing it. Probably one of the cheapest and easiest ways of doing it is just to actually use voile or muslin over the beam so that you drape it in a nice sort of soft effect. The idea is something hard like a beam, you counter it with something soft.
Wow, what a great
like
idea.
muslin or voile.
And the same thing obviously works as well also for placing furniture and things in the actual rooms that you put different objects in. You've got to be careful how you set all that out, haven't you, too?
You have to be... You can't go wrong with a mirror... you can go wrong with a mirror. You can't go wrong with a light and a plant. And you can never go wrong tidying areas up. In fact, if you start putting mirrors and crystals up and you've got clutter all over the place, instead of creating good fortune for yourself, you usually create more problems because you'll find you create more mess.
Well, I'm delighted to hear that. My family will be horrified because I'm always trying to get them to sort things out and make less clutter. But I'm fascinated. Thank you very much indeed. That was superb. Well, we're going to take a break now, but do join us in a couple of minutes for Stateside Style and news of some of the future's brightest design hopes. We'll see you then.